Welcome to its story_retelling, where classic tales are reborn in the shadows. Here, we unravel the dark side of the stories you thought you knew. Subscribe if you dare, and step into a world where happy endings are not guaranteed. They say every fairy tale has a happy ending, but not this one. This is the story of Cinderella, a girl once wrapped in innocence, now consumed by darkness. A twisted path of vengeance, curses, and unspeakable horrors awaits. Are you brave enough to follow her into the abyss? Dark, eerie music fades in. The manor is bathed in shadowy tones with faint whispers echoing in the background. The sight slowly pans over a decaying manor, half hidden in the mist, before settling on the cracked door leading to the cellar. In a forgotten corner of a decaying kingdom where the moon forever bleeds and shadows slither like serpents, there lived a girl known only as Cinderella. But this was no fairy tale, no, this was a tale of vengeance, curses, and the dark forces that dwell within the human soul. Cinderella, dressed in rags, her face streaked with ashes as she scrubs the cellar floor. The atmosphere is oppressive, with the walls seeming to close in and faint, ghostly whispers filling the air. Cinderella was an orphan, left in the care of her cruel stepmother and her twisted stepsisters. They took pleasure in her suffering, forcing her to toil in the shadows, her only company the bones of the long dead. But beneath her meek exterior a storm was brewing, one that would consume them all. One fateful night, as the wind howled through the broken windows, Cinderella stumbled upon an ancient cursed mirror. Its surface, marred by time, held a secret, a dark spirit that offered her a deal: vengeance against those who tormented her, in exchange for the one thing she had left, her soul. Cinderella's face, once fearful, now hardens with resolve. The dark figure reaches out from the mirror and the screen fades to black as she accepts the offer. The shite fades in to reveal Cinderella transformed. Her gown is a blackened masterpiece, dripping with blood, and her glass slippers glisten with a sinister sharpness. The sight lingers on her eyes, now burning with an unholy fire. Gone was the timid girl who cowered in the ashes. In her place stood a creature of darkness, draped in a gown of blood and shadow, with eyes that burned with the fires of the underworld. She was no longer a victim, she was a harbinger of doom. At the grand ball, where the cursed and the damned gathered under a blood-red moon, filled with sinister nobles who chant dark incantations, the prince, a monstrous figure cursed by his own greed, watches from the shadows. Cinderella enters, and the room falls into a hushed, fearful silence. Cinderella made her entrance. The prince, once a symbol of hope, was now a beast trapped in a monstrous form, drawn to the darkness within her. Cinderella and the prince dance, their movements graceful yet unnerving. The other guests fall into a trance, their faces contorted in silent screams. As they danced, the walls of reality began to crumble. Midnight struck, but instead of fleeing, Cinderella revealed her true self. A nightmare clad in silk and glass. The guests, caught in the web of dark magic, could only watch in horror as the cursed queen exacted her revenge. Cinderella's sight on the stepmother and stepsisters, their faces twisted in terror as they realize their fate. Cinderella raises her hand, and dark energy crackles around her. The screen flashes, and they are turned into grotesque statues, their expressions frozen in eternal agony. Her stepmother and stepsisters, once the source of her torment, were now mere statues, twisted and grotesque, their last moments of terror preserved for all eternity. The cursed mirror had fulfilled its promise, and the palace itself began to crumble, consumed by the darkness Cinderella had unleashed. Cinderella walks away from the burning ruins of the palace, her figure slowly fading into the mist. Her sight lingers on the cursed mirror, now cracked and empty. Victory came at a cost. Cinderella's soul, now bound to the darkness, was lost forever. She became a wraith, a ghostly figure that wandered the earth, seeking out cruelty and dragging the wicked into the same abyss that had claimed her. And so the tale of Cinderella, the girl who became a monster, came to an end. But in the shadows of forgotten places, her story still echoes, a warning to those who dare to cross the line between light and dark. If you crave more stories from the shadows, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to @story_retelling. The darkness has many more tales to tell and will be waiting for you in the shadows.